Welcome back to Nets Republic. I think it's very interesting that I have no issue justifying paying $200 for a ticket to a playoff game, but I won't just buy the Claxton jersey. Like my mind is an enigma, if I can quote Patrick Starr. I just think it's interesting the things I have no issue like paying for. Like I scheduled my first retwist in like 5 months, and like after the like tip that's like put into the charges, it's like 120 or something like that. Yet I won't buy the Claxton jersey. It's just crazy how my mind works, but that's not here nor there. Welcome to another edition of Shenanigans here on Nets Republic. Now, today's video was supposed to be the heavily anticipated 2-year overdue deep dive of y'all's hatred for James Harden and y'all's hatred for Darren Williams. But unfortunately, we must table it and push it to the side because in typical Nets Republic offseason fashion, there are other things to discuss. Now, while in other various channels and other different eras of the Sever the Bond lineage here on YouTube, I would say things like, there's new music a brewing, but we're not in that era right now. We're in 2023 in the summertime. And we might have to ring the foolishness alarm if we can take it back to 2017. I just have no idea which box that's in, but that's not even there. So last video we talked about Ben Simmons was talking that trash. That's the Nets Republic version. Talking that trash, if you will. Putting out there that, you know, we can rebuild him. He's bigger, badder, bolder, like a South Park trailer or something like that, right? This week, we're finally discussing the FIBA stuff. We're finally discussing all the things that Mikal Bridges and Cam, to a lesser extent, all the stuff that they were doing overseas for FIBA, which, am I the only one who thought this whole time that like this was like the qualifying for the Olympics? Apparently that's too, what is in my eye? My hair is like directly in my eye. I'm sorry. Am I the only person who was under the impression that this was like the qualifying games to go to the Olympics? I didn't know the FIBA thing was different from the Olympics. It could have fooled me. I mean, they called it a World Cup. I just assumed it was the same thing. Apparently it's not. This is like the baby Olympics or something like that. I thought it was all the same thing. I thought like we do this and then like we qualify to go to the Olympics, but I guess that's just not how the Olympics work. But that's not here or there. I've said Olympics way too many times in the last couple seconds. But anyway, this FIBA shenanigans. Basically, if you've been living under a rock or you're just like me and have been more focused on the WNBA than whatever the dudes are doing, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. Right? Johnson. Thomas is the one I'm thinking about. Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson were selected to go represent our country in the FIBA games or whatever against other countries and such. Now, a certain individual was left off of the team, which I just have to ask, are you happy you went with Jalen Brunson? Like, is this what you wanted? You happy? Yeah, because he was right there. He was right there. But now this is what y'all wanted, but that's not here nor there. I mean, like, I could have told you anyone who plays for the Knicks is going to be a bust, but that's not here nor there. They went out there and basically embarrassed themselves. I believe they lost 3 games. 1 game wasn't really canon, but then another game was like this big loss that like bounced us down to competing for bronze. And then we went and lost that game to, I think, Team Canada or something like that. I think the first one was like against like the Germans or some nonsense or something like that, where like, Dennis Schroeder had like a revenge game or something like that, and he was going off and was lighting up everyone. And again, I'm trying to think of the clean version of this because like I know how it is. I want to say this video. I just don't do Nets Republic videos that much in the summertime. So transitioning to squeaky content is like having me stammering a little bit. I apologize for how scatterbrained I seemed in this video. It's just I'm like transitioning back to not cursing, but Schroeder basically did a number on Team USA and bounced us out of qualification for getting gold. So then we had to compete for bronze, which, like, what happened to silver in there? It's like the silver medal is like on the same type of time as like Sonic the Hedgehog 06. We just don't talk about silver anymore, but that's not here or there. But anyway, I don't know what happened to the silver medal, but all of a sudden we're competing against Canada for the bronze medal. And then we get our tails kicked in for that. And RJ Barrett, of all individuals, is hitting like closing game threes on us. And that bum Dylan Brooks is having master classes and stuff. It was a crying shame. Now, I didn't watch these games because, number one, I don't care. But number two, it's WNBA time. You know what I mean? Y'all's liberty, you feels me? My dream, you feels me? Like, it's time. It's about that time in WNBA land. So I can understand if you don't care about the FIBA stuff. But the main thing that we need to take away from this, because this is not a FIBA recap video, it's the fact that Mikal Bridges was apparently going off the entire time. Now, I do not care. I want to make sure I make this 1,000% clear and abundant. I do not care. I don't care what Mikal was doing, but he was apparently going off. And that little 3-point celebration thing he does, however you do it, it's starting to get a little popular. So much so that obviously we're seeing people in other sports do it. But like when I popped in 2K, right? I'm talking about the new 2K. And no, I didn't get the Sabrina one. So, but so much so that when I pop in the new 2K, like one of the like base level things you can get at like a 61 overall, obviously you got the D'Angelo Russell ice in the veins joint, right? I'm looking for the Trae Young, right? But instead, they got Mikal's joint in there. They ain't even got the Melo 3 to the dome. But they got Mikal's joint right off the bat. I'm like, yo, this man's reach is getting ridiculous. And they called it Brooklyn Bridges. His nickname is in the game. Now, I made myself a very realistic player build this year. Normally, I make a center or like a power forward or something like that. But this year, I made a very realistic one. I made a undersized point guard that can't shoot, but has got one heck of a layup package. And I was like, well, what team needs a point guard right now? So, like, I decided I would go over to the Nets. Because last year, I was on the Hawks because I made a power forward. So, you know, scoop John Collins over. You feel me? But this year, I put myself on the Nets because, like, how the game has the starting lineup is, like, I think it's, like, Spencer Dinwiddie is the starting guard. Like, they haven't, like, updated it for Ben Simmons to be there yet. And Dennis Smith Jr., I'm pretty sure, is third string. So it's like, I figured like, okay, Nets need one, right? The way they make a big deal about like it's clearly Mikal's team and you're just there to help. Like MP my Tookish. Like it's the Mikal Bridges show. What I'm saying is the conversation among Mikal Bridges is becoming global. Well, maybe not global, that's a little extreme. But it's becoming nationwide. On your side. It's becoming nationwide, and it's not this best kept secret that's going on in the borough of Brooklyn and your friends and, you know, people who are just in the know of the league. This is starting to become a league-wide conversation. Casuals are beginning to be aware of the impact of Mikal Bridges. I'm watching deep dives from a couple of NBA YouTubers, which I'm not subscribed to many. Let me tell you, Seven Man Young Seven Man is not watching basketball commentary in his spare time. Let me guarantee you of that. But the few channels that I am subscribed to, I'm starting to see videos pop up from like Rusty Buckets of all people, talking about like hot topic debate, who's better, Mikal Bridges or Brandon Ingram. Now, obviously, we would all say Mikal, but it's just the fact that this is becoming mainstream conversation is insanity. Because this is Mikal. And not that Mikal Bridges isn't great, not that he's not amazing, but he is the magical disappearing man. Maybe everyone just forgot how the season ended. Maybe everyone just forgot that we got swept. But this is Mikal Bridges we're talking about. Now, we're coming off of a situation where you would go to the Barclays and Mans gets on there and says, Brooklyn, are you? Hey? You know what I mean? And they hit the long, they hit the long announcing joint on there. Kevin Durant. You know what I mean? Kyrie James. Hurry. You know what I mean? We're coming off. We're coming off of one wild ride of a time. And we're descending into the Mikal era, into the Brooklyn Bridges era. Which, if you ask me, it should be the Cam Thomas Claxton era, but, you know, cool. But it's just very fascinating that, by all accounts, a glorified ahead-of-schedule rebuild is being billed as this, like, Nets got next type vibe. It's really giving, and again, from an outsider perspective like myself, what this casual global conversation is giving is like 2019 Nets. Maybe 18. 19. Right? With D'Lo and Karras. You know what I mean? Jared Allen, Joe Harris. You know, like... OG Spencer Dinwiddie, like Rondae Hollis Jefferson, Jared Dudley, like that's what I feel like the narrative of the Brooklyn Nets is right now, and it's just so humorous to me because where we last left off, we were getting embarrassed by Philly. Joel Embiid wasn't even out there. It was one of the most shameful performances I have seen in professional sports, I'll be quite honest with you. You want to talk about poop in the bed? It was the most shameful performance I have ever seen. When I tell you this summer I took a break from the Nets, I mean, I was head first and still am with the Atlanta Dream. Like, I don't talk about the Nets in my personal life. I don't even play with them on 2K like that. Like, I am taking a mental break from just the train wreck of a season we just went through. But there's so much positivity. There's this weird positive spin on the team. There's all this, not enthusiasm. What's the word? Not upside. What's the word where it's like, it's just the positive mindset. There's so much... What is the word? There's so much optimism. There we go. There's so much optimism when you have these basic conversations about teams, when you do a team profile. The optimism for the Nets is just like so sky high. And it's just, I don't know how we got to that. Like, is it because Mikal played well? And that rhymed. Is it because he played well overseas? Is that what it is? Is it just his marketability? Is it just because he's a nice guy? Like, what is it? Because I look at a 27-year-old now star player who will most likely be an all-star, and I'm just like, well, let's see how this goes. But other people... I mean, like, people are putting him in the same conversation as Paul George, and it's like, dog, what? We're talking about the same Mikal Bridges, right? Like, and I know the numbers are crazy, but it's just like, we're talking about Mikal Bridges, right? Like I saw the games too. It's just, I don't know where this positivity is coming from. Now, I'm here for it. I've said on multiple occasions all summer that I'm trying to be positive about it, and I think it's very possible that he can mess around and either get most improved or maybe this is his MVP season. I don't know. I think the sky's the limit for him individually. But like I've said on multiple occasions, and I'm starting to hear these talking points from other, YouTube media people, Mikal is like 27, and that ceiling cannot possibly be much higher. I understand that he has a full training camp and a full year to be with the team. But as far as potential, he's already in his prime. And we didn't trade for a budding star that just needed a better environment. We traded for a role player that just happened to turn into a star, but who is 27. I'm not pooping on Mikal. I'm just not sure I see where the optimism came from the NBA world. Now, it's a welcome change because for the last 4 years, we were the supervillains that was destroying the league. So I guess it's nice that our rebuild is being treated so happily. And don't say rebuild around Claxton, but it's nice that we have a positive narrative around us and a positive spin. And regardless what we do, people are just going to pat us on the head and say, oh, that's the cute little Brooklyn Nets who's doing whatever they're doing in the corner over there. Now, what's Kyrie up to? You know what I mean? Like, that's great. I love it. I'm here for it. I just don't understand where it all came from. But let me know your thoughts down below. I'm sure some of y'all have interpreted this as I'm hating on Mikal Bridges, which I'm really not. You know, I as a shout out to Buddy, I'm becoming very defensive of him because the whole like thing of like, how can you put him in the same conversation as Brandon Ingram? What is Brandon Ingram doing that Mikal can't? Like, you know, so I'm getting a little protective of him. That must mean I'm starting to like him, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down below. We will eventually get to this Harden versus Williams video, probably the same day that we talk about the jerseys, but that's neither here nor there. I'll see y'all next week. I'm not going to say go Liberty, but go Atlanta. Ryan Howard for president. Vice President Alicia Gray. Yeah. Cheyenne Parker has no part in this cabinet. But shout out to her.